Hey everyone, Mrs. Klein here. This is April, week 3, day 4 and 5. For those of you who had the story about the pool, and then about, let me pull it up here. It was about Li Bing and the flooding. Okay, so of the Min River. If you guys remember the Min River flooding, and then the pool. And what I would kind of want to talk about before we look at the questions, both stories have problems in them, right? The problems aren't the same problem, but they both have problems. In the pool problem, first of all, they want to go to a pool, they don't have a pool. Then when they go to blow up the pool, there's a hole in it that they have to figure out where it's at. They finally listen for it, and that's how they do that. Then they have to patch the hole, so they think about, well, maybe they could use a Band-Aid, maybe they could use glue. Finally, they come to some strong gray tape. I'm assuming it's duct tape, but it doesn't say that in the story. And then also they end up and they have to figure out how to fill it. Are they going to carry buckets? Oh, that's a lot of work. So then they finally decide, oh, we're going to use the hose out back to fill it. Okay. The problem in the Li Bing and the flooding story, that is one problem, and it's the flooding of the river, and he has to investigate and find a solution for that. So in both stories, there's a problem. The pool story, there's multiple problems. And then in both stories, they both have, they have to find solutions to the problems. So I just thought that was kind of interesting and wanted to discuss that before we went ahead and started answering our questions. So let me pull this up for you. Okay, and let's get our text boxes ready. I meant to have that ready actually before I pulled it up, but alas, it seems I always forget to do that. So it's okay though, because then we can start discussing the questions and the answers before we go ahead and start writing them. Okay, and this one says, use the Li Bing and the flooding article to answer questions 1 and 2. So what was the problem with the Min River? I think we could probably answer this without going back to the text. I think you guys can probably get an idea even just from the title, Li Bing and the flooding. So what was the problem with the Min River? Do you guys remember what it did every year? Yeah, it flooded. So how are we going to restate this question? What was the problem with the Min River? Go ahead and restate that for me. Yeah, great. Okay, so the problem with the Min River was, oops, forgot a space, that it flooded every year. And we'll go ahead and say ruined people's. How did Li Bing solve this problem? Remember, that was the governor. He came in, he investigated, he found out that it was from the snow melting on the mountains and going down to the river. How did he fix that problem? What did what did he end up and do? Go ahead and tell me what he did. Yeah. Okay. So he ended up and had a levee built to reroute some of that water. So Li Bing solved the problem by having a levee built to reroute some of the water, right? Okay. Now it says use the article the pool to answer questions 3 through 5. Question number 3. What does Alex realize after he starts blowing air into the pool through the nozzle? What does he end up and realize? Does it inflate? He's the one blowing the air in. He realizes that it's going to take what? A long time. Yes. He realizes it's going to take a long time without a pump or something, okay, for one person. There is no way he could do that. Okay, so that's what he realizes. So we're going to restate this. Remember, the question is, what does Alex realize after he starts blowing air into the pool through the nozzle? How do we restate that? Okay, good. We say Alex realizes that one person cannot blow the pool up without a pump. Good. Very nice, guys. We're working. You guys are doing well in this. I think you guys liked these two stories. They were a little bit different, and I think you guys enjoyed them because you guys are doing well with this. All right, let's go ahead and look at the next set of questions. Question number 4. What is one problem that Alex and Karen have as they try to blow up the kiddie pool and fill it with water? Okay, so we know that they have multiple problems. Here's the thing. I'm going to kind of guide you guys with this, and then I'm going to let you guys pick what you want because they have multiple problems. They have the fact that one person can't fill it up. They need a pump. They have the fact that there's a hole. They have the fact that they have to figure out how to get the water in. Okay, they have all kinds of problems. I want you to pick the problem that you want to write about to answer this question. So I will help you restate it, but then you guys need to fill in the rest. So what it's going to say is one problem that Alex and Karen have as they try to blow up the pool and fill it with water is, and this is where you come in, what are you going to put? Is there's a hole in the pool, or they need to fill the pool with water, or they need a pump to blow it up. You come up with the problem. I started it. Whoop, I didn't spell Alex right, sorry. All right, the next part is, how do they solve this problem? Okay, this is something else I'm going to guide you on, and I want you guys to finish because it's all going to be different depending on what you put on number 4. Okay, if you put that they needed a pump to fill the pool or to pump the air, you're not going to put that they solved the problem with a hose in the backyard. Okay, so how do they solve this problem? You'll say they solved their problem by, and you guys write down how they solved their problem. And again, you could say they solved their problem by using strong tape. They solved their problem by using the spout in the backyard. They solved their problem by finding an air pump. You're going to pick what fits what you picked on number 4. How did they solve the problem that you wrote down on number 4? Put that on number 5. Okay, you guys can do it. Ooh, I don't know what I just did there. All right, you guys can do it, and I know it. Okay, number 6, compare the problem that Li Bing solved to the problem that Alex and Karen solved. Okay, this one's a little tricky for me. I don't necessarily love this question just because it says to compare the problem. That means tell how they're similar. And I think that the problems are very, very different. The problems that Li Bing solved, I mean, they were life-saving, life-changing, that kind of thing. The problems that Alex and Karen solved was just problems based off of their wants. They didn't need to go into a pool. They didn't need to sit in the backyard and relax. Now, Li Bing's problem that he solved with the flooding, people needed that flooding to stop because their homes and their lives were being ruined by the flooding. So this one, you know, like I said, it's a little tricky for me, but we need to figure out some similarities. So compare the problems that Li Bing solved to one of the problems that Alex and Karen solved. Okay, so what we can do is we can say that Li Bing had to investigate the problem before he could solve it. And Alex and Karen, guess what? When there was a hole, they knew there was a hole, just like Li Bing knew that there was flooding. But what did they have to do to figure out where the hole was? Yeah, they had to investigate, okay? First, they tried to look for it. Could they see the hole? No. Then they tried to feel it. Could they feel the hole? No. Then they decided to what? Yeah, listen. So they listened for the air coming out, and then they finally heard, yeah, they heard some air coming out. So they were able to figure out where the hole was after they investigated. So that is a similarity that both of these stories have, is that they had to investigate the problem in order to fix it, okay? So that is finding, again, comparing means telling how it's similar. So we just have to figure out how to word this now. So what do you guys think about wording this? How can we restate this? How can we word the answer to this problem? Okay, the problem that Li Bing solved and the problem that Alex and Karen solved are similar. Remember, because compare means how are they similar? Are similar because they both had to investigate the problem, in order to fix the problem. Okay? So that kind of answers it in an easy to understand way. Again, it's kind of hard to compare these two stories in my opinion, just because in my head the stories or the problems are so different. So if you guys need to pause the screen, you can. We're going to go on to the next question. Whoops. Let me see here. There we go. Okay, question number 7. Compare how Li Bing solved the problem with the Min River to how Karen and Alex solved a problem with blowing up the kiddie pool and filling it with water. Okay, again, this is compare. It's telling how they're similar again. And I feel like it's almost repeating the last question. Compare the problem. Okay, you know what I did actually? This actually answers question number 7 right here. This is how they solved it, okay? So this is comparing how they solved it. I'm sorry, I actually got our answers out of order. So we need to actually compare the problems now and tell how they're similar. Oh my goodness. So let me go ahead and get us another text box. I am so sorry if you guys wrote that down and I confused you. It's going to be too difficult to redo my video now because we're this far in and I don't want to redo the whole thing. But we can just go ahead and if you guys already wrote that on number 6, don't erase it. Just make a note, draw arrows, cross out number 6, put number 7. On number 7, cross out number 7 and put number 6. I'll know the difference. It's okay. I'm the one grading it, and I know that I made the mistake. So don't worry about it, okay? So now let's think, because we just solved we just answered this. We're comparing how they solved the problems. Well, we just compared how they solved them. They had to investigate them first before they could solve them. Now we have to actually compare the problems, okay? Or compare the flooding problem to one of the problems that Alex and Karen had. So, let's see here. The problem that Li Bing solved with the flooding is similar to, what problem is it similar to with Alex and Karen, the flooding? What do we think? I still, yeah, I agree with you guys. I still think it's similar to the problem with the hole, okay? Because without that, then they couldn't fix it, they couldn't move on to any of their other, yeah, very nice. Okay, so the problem that Li Bing solved with the flooding is similar to the problem that Alex, whoops, I'm having some typos, that Alex and Karen, oh my goodness, I didn't type and Karen had with the hole there, Kiddie pool. Okay. We could go on and write down why. We could say that they're similar because something needed stopped, okay? So they are similar, whoops, sorry, similar because the water needed stopped, just like the hole coming out of the pool, just like the air, sorry, the air, oh my goodness, the air coming out of the pool needed stopped. Okay, that's really stretching us, you guys. This is a hard one to answer. How are they similar? And I'm so sorry that I got you guys mixed up and confused and I ended up and answered the other question before I answered this one. So this is, again, this is number 7. I'm gonna put a 7. Okay. All right, you guys can pause if you need to catch up on your writing. That's fine. I'm gonna move on to the next page, okay? Whoops. See here, there we go. Okay, so we answered number 7 already. Number 8, who solved a more difficult problem? Li Bing or Alex and Karen? Support your answer with evidence from both texts. All right, here's the thing, guys. Remember, when it says support your answer with evidence from both texts, that means we need to actually quote something from both texts, okay? So, the first part, who solved a more difficult problem? This we know without reading a text. Li Bing or Alex and Karen? Yes, Li Bing. Flooding is a much more serious problem than trying to get your pool filled with water, okay? So we are going to at least start it off and then we'll go back up in the text and we'll look for things to quote, evidence from the text, okay? So we're gonna say Li Bing solved the more difficult problem. And now we're going to go up and we are going to find evidence from our text to support that Li Bing did solve the most important problem. If we're going to look in this, we could say, let's see here, get my highlighter out or my underliner, okay. There was a problem with the Min River. The people who lived along it were scared of it because it would overflow. This happened once a year. It says this was a very bad thing for the people who lived along the Min River. It was a big problem, okay? So we can go ahead and take bits and pieces from this and we can say, I like this sentence right here. The people who lived along it were scared of it because it would overflow. That's important, guys. Let's go down here. And I might not quote it exactly because it's hard for me to remember when I can't go back and forth to the pages. In leaving and the flooding, it states the people who lived along the river were very scared because it overflowed every year. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and we have to also show evidence from our other story, the pool. So let's go ahead and start it in the pool. In the pool, it states, now we have to go look for a quote. Okay, so in the pool, it states something that's showing evidence that their problem is not as big as the flooding problem. Let's see here. Alex and Karen were sitting in their backyard on a hot summer day. All they wanted to do was go swimming, but the local public pool was under construction, and all the adults were too busy to give them a, a ride to the beach. I just want to sit in cool water, said Alex. Imagine how nice it would feel. The two sat quietly as they thought about how else they could cool off. Let's blow up that kiddie pool we have in the garage, suggested Karen. We can fill that with water and it'll help us cool off. Okay, so we could go ahead and write that all they wanted to do was to go swimming. Whoops. That was their problem. All they wanted to do was go swimming. They're not scared to live. They're not scared of their house being destroyed by a flood. All they wanted to do was go swimming. That's not a big problem, okay? So it states all they wanted to do was go swimming. There you go. And then that shows that this problem is not as big as the problem that Li Bing had to help solve. Okay? All right. I hope you guys got all that. Sorry about my mistake with answering question number 7 before number 6. It's hard for me when I'm switching screens like that. So thank you guys for being patient with me. Thanks for helping me learn how to get through some of this and teach some of you guys electronically. I'm enjoying it and having fun. I miss all of you guys. I can't wait to see you. All right. Love and hugs. Bye.